Well, today I'm going to give you an introduction to the MammalNet. Sorry, I think okay. To the MammalNet project by commenting on some general result of the project as well as some curiosities that have emerged over the last few years. Okay, this is the original name of the project, but we rename it like MammalNet to be more easy for everybody. That the idea is citizens and scientists working together to improve the knowledge or distribution of European mammals. Well, why I think that Joaquin did a lovely introduction to about the ENETWILD project and also the vinculation also with this one. But in summary, different international organizations that during the last years have focused the attention on the One Health concept, where the animal, the domestic and the wildlife component are really important, but to try to understand or to assess the risk assessment of disease, for example, in wildlife, it's necessary to have available data. This available data, with everybody from us know that it's not so easy to get. So EFSA promote the ENETWILD project with the idea to collect information for Europe related to the abundance or distribution of different species. In this case, we focused initially with the wild boar, but finally we also did an ampliation to other species. And we saw is that we had a lot gaps in the information, mainly because most of these species in the NetWild project, we use data from hunting back records, from occurrence data, but also from density. What we saw is this information was not available for different reasons, and there was a lot of gaps in the information in Europe. So we consider the possibility to use a citizen approach, mainly because the scientist is not possible to be in every place in Europe, and to take advantage of the citizens could be a good, interesting approach that should be assessed, and also for the possibility to answer questions that need a large spatial scale or temporal scale to respond this kind of question. For example, we are talking about issues related with introduced species or natural immigrants, anthropogenic chains responding, how is the impact at large scale, also the impact of rewilding in the future and also in the present, and other factors like the climate change could be very interesting, or some topics that could be benefit from the citizen approach. In this case, with the support EFSA and also with the knowledge or the previous experience from NetWhale, we also consider the possibility to incorporate this information in the Global Biodiversity Information Facility. That this is a infrastructure or platform, international platform, where it's possible not only to pick up information about the species, but also to share the information that different project, not only citizen science project, also the kind of project like regional or governmental or also scientific project could share the available information that are collecting to try to improve the knowledge of different taxons, and also to improve the scientific knowledge. In this case, from the MammalNet project, we consider to adapt different tools. One of them is iMammalia tool that we will talk about it in the next talk. More details. The Agouti is a platform dedicated to camera trap, but mainly focused for professional people or researchers. MammalWeb with is other camera trap platforms that is focused mainly to citizen science. In our case, was the how we focus the different ecosystem in MammalNet. We search for different audience. We from one side we try to focus on researchers and wildlife managers, mainly associated with Agouti. The camera trappers and photographers mainly focus with the MammalWeb. We have other pool or different profiles related with iMammalia that could be persons that are related in any way with the nature. And you can see blurred the part of the student and teacher because was not a focus group in our project, but for reason related with the pandemic, we included at the end in the project because well, could be an opportunity also to be assessed in the project. We see a little the profile of the people, the person working in or participating in the project. This is an example for Spain and Germany. What we can see, the pattern is more or less very similar. We have the activity that the people perform for the free time and for professional reason. We can see that the hunting term is a little different between Spain and Germany, but in most of the case, in the case of the hunter or hunting activity in Germany, we can see is that the number is very similar. The person that used to practice hunting like a free or leisure activity or professional, that what we can think is that those persons that are related with hunting in a professional way, also they are practicing the hunting and they are interested also in collaborating in citizen science. But probably as in Spain, we don't get a lot contribution of hunters with not professional motivation. This is a perception we have in the case of Spain, but it was not the same, for example, for other areas like in the Balkans, that hunters participate a lot in the project. Other different also in the case of Spain and Germany is that in the case of Spain, we have a lot of people associated to academia participating, probably because they have more knowledge about the potential utility of the citizen science approach, and we have a lot participation of this kind of audience. Well, here you have a map of where we did the project. In red color was the first phase of the project at Spain, Germany, Poland, and Croatia. We started with this country, and after we did an expansion to the orange part of the project, that is mainly Balkan countries, Italy and Portugal. And you can see that not all the error tools were used in all the part because we don't did active promotion of these apps in different areas. You can see other areas in green color that is where we have not worked, but in this moment we have the app ready in the language to be help the citizens to collaborate, but we didn't did an active promotion of the activity. For this activity, we did different communication strategies or tasks like the promotion of the web with the blog on different posts, newsletter, videos, the social media using 3 different social media, and also different kind of trying to catch the attention from different media like press, radio, and television that was very different depending of the different countries. For the gaming, we did some also different activity, the training, the educational project that we will explain later, and different disseminations activity like contests, quiz, guides, participated in phase when pandemic allow it. Well, this is the app iMammalia. Graham will give you more details, but only to comment that it's a very friendly tool that with IMATs it's not necessary to know the name of the species, and the verifiers can help you to classify correctly you have any mistake with the IMATs you are sending. Okay, you can see here some of the records. You can see what we explained before, that those areas where we did active promotion, we get interesting results. But in other areas, for example, the case of France, that we don't do any activity, we don't get any result. This is really important, the tool or the communication approach to get the participation of the people. Also, you can see here, I don't know if you can see let me see. Okay, yes. You can see here the temporal evolution of the records in Mammalia. You can see here, for example, with the Endraso pandemic, we had a reduction, also recovery. But more or less in summary, what we can see is that we have increased the number of records year by year. This is other interesting example. In green color, you can see the different records uploaded to GPIF, and in yellow, those that are related with Mammalia, okay? Okay, we have very dense areas. This is not from citizen science projects, it's for other kind of project like inventories or regional governmental approach. It's not the case for Catalonia, that is a citizen project with a very active participation. But you can see that different areas in yellow, you can see how we improve the coverture of wild boar in Spain, for example, but also, for example, in Balkans area, where there were one of the gaps in the data information. That so probably we can see that could be really interesting, this approach. One of the question is, okay, we can why to use a new app only focuses in mammals? This approach could be interesting. We did a comparison with the same period with some countries that we promote the app in of Mammalia, and with a spatial precision better than 2,000 meters. We use this criteria because it's the same criteria that we are using in ENETWILD to do the modelization, and we can see that the number of records that we collect were very similar or to the general application. This is what for us what is meaning is probably are more or less complementary, and we can more or less to see this one because when we ask it in the case of Spain, we ask it about the what is the app most frequently used for the Mammalia user. What we saw is that most of them used to work with birds apps. This means that probably Mammalia could be a complementary tool for them. Also, we have people working also with Mammalia that could be interesting to share data for other species, plants, birds, etc. Another interesting outcome is related to this point is that when we asked see before using iMammalia, if these participants used to share data with other app, we found that 30% of the people don't used to share data previously to use iMammalia. This is interesting because it's a way to introduce the people to the citizen science approach that for us is really interesting output. For Mammal Web is an app, a web app that is mainly focused for camera track device. A camera track device is a camera that can collect information from mammals because it has a sensor, a movement and thermal sensor that identify the presence of animal and or capture image from these animals. We have two different roles, the trappers and the spotter. We can also consider the third role is about the project manager that we will see after, the possibility to generate your own project within the platform. And we can see, this is more or less what you see in the computer. In this case, it's a Jeanette. Well, and you can help to classify the image like a spotter. This is more or less the distribution of different dots where the camera were located by citizens. And here we have the most frequent species. In this case, is the wild boar. Probably Graham will told this one, but in iMammalia, the most frequent is the roe deer. But here, the potential of Mammal Web is really interesting because with camera trap, you can find other kind of species that are more elusive or not so frequent. In most of the case, we collected more than 90,000 sequences, but we recognize that around 6,000 came from a single pond with thousands of bird records. This is something that can happen in this data science project. In some case, it might discourage the participation to continue with the classification. This could be a problem. Also, it's important to assess these kind of points or issues. Mainly if they are expecting to see mammals and not birds. But okay, also it's possible to classify birds. That also is interesting information. In most of the project, we get a high classification level for Spain, Hungary, Croatia, and Italy. More than 80% of the outlier imaging were classified. For other countries, we get 50% of the data for Poland, or Ireland, and only 30% in Deutschland, in Alemania, in Germany, sorry, mainly because this spot was located there, and we had to ask to the citizens to stop to share this kind of information from one single point to avoid to overload the help of the citizens. Okay, sorry, I cannot. Yes, well, this other approach that is really interesting for us. This is a educational project. This is from Spain. That you can see some parts in Spanish. That we are trying to we try to do is to assess if the use of mammal web and camera track could be interesting for like a didactic activity in the school, following the British experience with mammal web that they are performing this approach for some times ago. And we did some approach. In this case, is they not only help to classify, they are building their own hypotheses, their own project. This is a way to connect with the science, with the nature, with the local environment. And in this case, it's a gradient between rural and urban area, where they put different cameras in different regions, and they compare the different parameters like abundance, richness, activity pattern of different species, to try to understand like a simulation of a research approach. Okay, it's not a research because in some case they don't have a good effort, they don't have a lot of camera trap to do a professional approach, but the philosophy is the same. And after they get also to motivate them to participate, and not only to collect data, also to classify the image. These are other similar example in other area, also for comparing mixed landscape, agriculture, and natural area with fluvial corridors, also for the richness and abundance of different species. Or also in Lugo, other project that some weeks ago, they have finished one of the projects, and they did a really interesting thing for us, because they have estimated the density of wild boar using the random encounter model. This is the scientific approach that we are using in ENETWILD to estimate wild boar, and they follow the protocol, the ENETWILD protocol, with the students, and they get to collect information. Even we have to consider this a simulation. Don't have a lot of camera to do this one, but they did all the procedure to estimate in a very precise way the estimate of wild boar densities. Okay, what I would like to do to highlight about this approach is that we started in a way like a top-down approach, and what we are trying to do is now to go to bottom to up. That's to try to promote the generation of different initiative from different people from different areas, to try only to help them to create their own project, to manage the data, and also to share this information when they are finishes the project that they are doing. For Agouti, this tool is more complex. It's more for researchers, for wild managers. It's very flexible. You can perform a lot how to do the sampling. Also, the different this app have different roles that you can manage in different way to give access to upload images only, to classify images, and it's really interesting. And now we are beginning to incorporate some new functionalities to help the researchers to promote or to use this app. With this approach, MammalNet was a citizen science approach, and we try to understand if the researchers could be interested to use citizen science in their own project. We perceive different feelings about this approach. Uh, Most of them recognize the open science opportunity for science and disseminations. That citizen science, with its limitation, could have a good role to play in improving knowledge of mammals, European mammals, but most of them have some concerns about the use. When they are talking about mixed approach, okay, the researchers do the sampling and the field work that you have to invest a lot of time, a lot of human effort, and also economical resources. And citizens only help to classify image. They don't feel very comfortable with this approach because citizen science, the philosophy of citizen science is to share as early as possible all this information. And in the case of camera trap approach, the ecological approach, this sharing so quickly the information is not the best way for the researchers. So they don't feel very comfortable with those platforms that request to share in very short time. In 2 years, you have to share your data. And in this case, don't feel very comfortable with this approach. Okay, so we try to think about other possibility. And the idea for the main idea is, okay, I would like to share the data after to publish this information. This is a way to get more comfortable the researchers with this approach related with citizen science. The other possibility is to use other kind of approach that we will see. That's what we call the collaborative approach. The other possibility, okay, I can start from scratch, but I cannot use the resource from my other projects. So the problem is how to get financial support to obtain the cameras or to share with the citizens to do a collaborative or a participative approach. This is an interesting issue that we have to see how to solve it. Okay, a proposal for MammalNet, but also for ENETWILD, is to change the philosophy, to change to the wildlife observatory. In this case, it's not requesting the raw data. What we are trying to request is the final result, is the density values. This means that the researchers can use the data in the way that they consider better, that don't lose the power to manage the data, and only they collaborate in a different way. The idea also is that these different groups, as they are using harmonized sampling in harmonized way, they can collaborate between them to generate new knowledge, not only those that are interesting for the projects. Well, at the end, to summary, okay, with MammalNet, we have the proposal that Aguti probably the best way is to go to the collaborative approach using a model like the observatory. For with MammalNet, we think it's interesting to continue to promote the citizen science with MammalWeb and Mammalia. In the case of MammalWeb, with the educational approach, we think is really interesting that we should take advance of this approach. For MammalNet, we will see also within Mammalia, Graham will give you more details about how to perform this approach, and also to try to use ENETWILD like a way to coordinate all this action, the what we are collecting with MammalNet, where we are collecting with the observatory, and also to try to integrate the information of density, abundance, distribution map, and also other wildlife disease surveillance. So, well, this is the partner collaboration and also some alliance that we did during the project that they help us also to disseminate the project, and more people that are not included because are now in this moment beginning to incorporate to this idea or this initiative, and also to EFSA for the help for support this interesting idea. Well, thanks.